Hello, everyone. Welcome to November's edition of the PSR podcast. Welcome back. Here I have myself, tuckerlerat. We also have eddaket.
Hello.
We have Iron.
Hey, everybody.
We have Jordan97.
Hello.
And we have two special guests today. We have MaddiicT and PrimalPizza.
Up, guys?
Hey, guys.
Yeah, good to see you guys. Welcome to our November edition of the podcast. The first thing that's on our agenda here is talking about the Red tournament that's happening. That's why our special guests are here. I guess you guys can take it away, MaddiicT and Primal.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's just insane early game for me. Specifically, the Nidoran split was the best one I'd gotten in maybe 3 months or so, including PB attempts. It's pretty much one encounter that I needed, perfect rival one. So it was all I could ask for finals. I was very much sweating at this point, moving it. Last year, I also had a lead in finals, and I made a wrong turn after this room that I'm heading into at this point. And yeah, I was really determined this year to just hold the really strong lead from early game and not go too safe, because I tend to play better from behind, and I was worried that I was just gonna let them catch up. At the end of this minute, I end up skipping Moon Rocket save, which is something that most people would think is like you'd have to be out of your mind to do this far ahead. But I was keeping in mind I had a bird. If I got confused on the Zubat, I could have swapped to that bird and maybe lost a few turns in the process. But the lead was strong enough that I was able to flex that. Yeah, the early game was unfair. There's nothing really that Primal or I could do about how good the early game was. Yeah.
You had like a mid 11 Brock. Of course, he didn't have Bird at that point, but I think Araya and I both had like 13-minute Brocks, and
but it's
when
totally
you're just
fine.
that's like kind of expected in a race. But if you're just that far behind at Brock, and then there's like really nothing you can do to like play to get ahead at that point. You just kind of got to take what you get. And then I'm not watching your stream at this time. Early game, I just like kind of don't focus on that because it tends to tilt me. But saw your moon split 24-19. I think as far as we know, that's the best moon ever in a race, period. Not even just in tournament, just in a race in general.
It's got to be close, yeah.
That's
in the finals, yeah. It was pretty ridiculous.
That's actually crazy.
But yeah, it was unfortunate because like the fun thing about red races is how it usually starts off pretty close, and then whoever's behind is taking more risks. Whoever's ahead is slowing down. Generally, they tend to stay pretty close unless someone dies. It's always unfortunate when this happens. Like, it was great for me, of course, but from the viewer's standpoint, it's
I mean, Araya and I were like pretty decently close the whole race almost.
Yeah.
So like, we still had content.
The whole tournament though had been like this definitely was not the strongest race of the whole tournament. The whole tournament had so many ridiculously close races that were
actually
extremely like decided on Lance or Champ, and the red racing is a great mix of like the early game RNG is pretty bad. There's not much you could really do about it other than maybe like learning extended manipulation or something to slightly ease the RNG. But the mid game is a lot more execution, decision making, and you kind of just put yourself in a position to win at the end game. But then once again, they just throw all the RNG at you in the last 3 fights, similar to the beginning of the game. So you just try to put yourself in a position to win. You can never guarantee it going into E4 though.
Yeah, it's kind of what I like about red racing is the mid game where you can just kind of like flex different strats in order to get ahead and like decide how much risk you want to take in order to get ahead.
Yeah, in this tournament I tend to go way more risky because a lot of the times you were playing first place to advance, especially in the lower bracket. You needed to get a first place spot to continue in the tournament. So if you're in third place, you just had to send it. There wasn't really an option. You can't expect the two people ahead of you to both fall behind just naturally. So you have to. There's Sylph bar options. There's depositing, skipping saves for late game fights, and just kind of accepting if you die, then that's kind of it.
Yeah, that point actually. Sorry, that point actually brought up a good question that I had. Is I heard there was a different format for the tournament this year. You mentioned the lower bracket. You want to kind of talk about how it was a little bit different this year and how that might have changed the racers' approach to races, as well as because I believe you, MaddiicT, you came through the lower bracket to get to the final, which is quite impressive.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the way it was formatted this year. In previous years, we took a little bit more. We took into consideration the time that you finished with. So that if you were in third place but you had a really good time, you could potentially advance to the next round. It was also really good for just filling up all the races so that each one was a 3-man race. This year, though, there tended to be some issues with it specifically. You had more of an advantage if you're later in the round and you knew what time you needed in order to advance. Specifically, the last race of every round, it was pretty much just a time trial. You just had to hit a certain threshold in order to advance.
Yeah,
and it kind of eliminated the spirit of racing. So this year we went entirely with advancing on placement. Time was completely irrelevant, which was really cool because if you're ahead, you got to play extremely safe. You didn't have to worry about what happened in other races. And when you're behind, you would just send it, which made for some really interesting decisions from people in first and third. Second kind of played normal, but most of the time. Unfortunately, there were a few 1v1 races, but they actually ended up being some of the better races in the tournament, the 1v1 somehow. You always worry that someone will just be like 2 minutes ahead really early on, and then you're just commentating two separate races or watching two separate runs. But this year there were a lot of 1v1s that came down to E4.
I highly recommend Ekman versus ATN. That's crazy. They finished like 4 seconds apart or something.
There was a race between Dirt Tepic, Stokey, and Craftedite that they all left like the boat cutscene was happening at the exact same time for everyone. Like pretty much the same perfect. You're watching the boat leave, and they were just switching places the entire run, all the way up to the beginning of E4, and then it was decided by champ at the end. So that race was wild.
That was
the
only
whole way through.
It was only like winners round 2, right, or something.
That was the first winners.
Like that.
Round 2, yeah, after the buys.
And it's just crazy that they were matched up so early. 3 extremely good runners, of course. Stokey did not do any qualifiers, so
yeah. So it was interesting. Everyone who went to the finals ended up playing a different amount of races this tournament. Araya, he got a bye for the first round, and he won his first 2 races after the bye, which put him right into the finals. So he had a total of 3 races. Primal started without a bye, and he won his first 3 races to get into finals. So he had 4 races in total. And I had a bye, won my first race, lost the second, and then had to win 2 others to get to the finals. So I ended up doing 5 in total. So that was interesting how that worked out. But yeah, the lower bracket was very scary. It was kind of like a mini tournament between 8 of us towards the latter half of the tournament, and everyone there was extremely stacked. Very good runners.
Yeah,
Definitely was like an absolute
necessarily-
gauntlet.
You're not necessarily like, it's not necessarily the lower ranked runners that are in that lower bracket. I imagine you might have some really good runners that got unlucky that ended up there, which
Yeah, I
make it
mean there were a lot of
interesting, yeah.
really good players being put up against each other, and they can't both win, so someone's going to the lower bracket, right? And eventually, yeah, the lower bracket just became pretty stacked. It's ridiculous.
And you lost in winners final, so like you basically went through like the least amount of the lower bracket that you could have, but like it still felt like it dragged on for so long. Like
Yes.
you did so many races, so many elimination races, which I'm sure got your blood pumping.
Yep, it was fun. Primal is actually the one who bought me down.
Yeah, that's right. I was
So
against
the rematch.
you and Poke Guy.
Yeah, that was. Got to play Poke Guy twice this tournament. That was fun. Primal twice. Yeah, it was. It's a good time. Racing Red is a lot of fun. It's a really good way to learn for PB attempts as well. Because PB attempts tend to drag on. Like, it's really hard to improve if you're just doing early game all the time. But through races, through like comparing to other people and seeing where you can save time and stuff like that, then you go back into PB attempts and you feel much more confident about reaching whatever goal you want to make. So highly recommend anyone who's done red PB attempts and hasn't done races to just check it out, do a few. Don't take it too seriously. The early games are sometimes pretty bad. That's just kind of the nature of racing red. But it's a great way to improve in the game.
I know that you touched upon like how good your early game was, but like I also want to talk about like the deciders for this race because like it's just been playing in the background right now.
Yeah.
We could look at like the juggler for everyone.
Yeah, that was a big one.
We were deathless up to that point, all three of us, and then all three of us died to juggler too, kind of due to different circumstances. I mean, we all got hit and died, but Matt got accidental Sylph bar, which was really crazy.
Oh yeah, we might want to go to
turn-
Koga first. Koga would be amazing.
4-turn Fury attack crit from Nidorino, putting him in like perfect red bar.
Around 135, I imagine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I want to skip to there.
Like
eventful.
YouTube has got some you for the bottom where you can see it a bit better, but Twitch is one of the worst at finding things.
Yeah, I want to pull it back a little bit.
A little bit, okay.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Here's Primal's death.
Yeah, there's my death right there.
Yeah, there's Matt's death right there.
A little before there, I had accidental red bar. I went for a hit from the drowsy, got psychic. Could have been really bad if I got crit, because the recovery involves reviving, and you need to heal because another psychic would take you down again. You need to set up an X accuracy. So I have red bar at this point. I'm only dead to a confusion or a headbutt crit. At this point, no one's died in the race yet, and I take the first one here with a decent lead, good enough that I could take this death and still hold the lead.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then you can see I have red bar too. I got purposeful Sylph red bar that actually, besides Hypno, worked out really well until that point. Caught up a lot to Araya then, but of course got confusion as well. I think I was just dead to regular headbutt as well, but then Araya.
Yeah,
see his
so
fight coming up.
Araya's on a slightly different route from ours. He uses PP up earlier than us, and because of that, if your HP is a little high, you do want to die to the self-destruct wheezing. So there's a setup here where you could set up an X accuracy on the drowsy, and it's 3 and 40 is an attacking move. Any attacking move's good. Psychic specifically always puts you into red bar, and he's really happy here seeing the psychic. Unfortunately, it is an 8% crit rate, and that's what happens to him. So he would have very much brought it back. Been really close to me coming in with red bar into this next fight. And then Primal comes in, and he is dead to a headbutt or confusion. Hypno doesn't care; it just sees his confusion. So didn't matter what his health was at that point. As long as it's under 42, it's gone there. So yeah, so at that point, no one had gone, and this isn't a super common fight to. I mean, with red bar, it's not that uncommon. It's roughly like 30% to perish, but maybe a little less. Yeah, definitely less because you can crit the hip now. Araya's situation was also very rare. So yeah, that was the first of many deaths to come for the rest of this race.
When was the next one? Was it black belt or was it an E4?
I think it was your death to black belt, right, MaddiicT?
I think Araya.
Oh wait, yeah,
has
Araya.
one
You're
black
right.
belt.
Araya died to black belt. I know one of us did. You
Yeah.
died to Lance.
I died at Lance later on. Yeah.
And then Araya died to YOLO Lorelei in order to try to catch up to me.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I end up getting a 150 is quite a decent race time. Like I'm very happy getting a 150 ever. I think I've gotten 4 ever in a race, and this one is with 4 or 2 deaths.
That's 4
I end up getting this 150, which blew my mind that I was capable of doing it. But the early game was just so good that kind of carried the rest.
Yeah, probably one of the more exciting storylines that came about with this race was that you could have snatched the best tournament time and collected that 10% bot bonus from Yuji. Who had the best tournament time, but those deaths kind of prevented that. But I'm sure you're still happy with the win.
Yeah. Absolutely, you have to get very. It doesn't matter what skill level you're at to win a red tournament. You have to get very lucky. Like you have to be at a certain skill level, but I'm not considering myself the best red racers. Like red racer, I can think of like 5 at least off the top of my head that have more like better average times. But I don't know. Tournament luck for me has been quite nice, so I'm not complaining.
2 rings. Did you say otherwise?
Yeah.
Are you actually not allowed to join the next year's red tournament? Okay.
I think I made a joke with one of the speed gaming moderators, Diego, that early before the tournament started, that if I were to win again, I would not participate in any future red races, so that I can keep a ridiculous record, which I currently have. I'm 8 and 9 in tournament races, which is pretty silly. Yeah, didn't have any devastating runs other than finals last year, which luckily was paired with 2 other runners who also had devastating runs. So I had the least devastating run for last year's finals. So this is also a nice redo, because last year's finals, the winning time was a 154, which, should not be a winning time for finals ever.
Watch that champ fight if you haven't.
Yeah, if you haven't watched champ from last year's finals, it is something else.
It's an adventure.
Yeah, this year's finals more straightforward. I got one of my better runs. I was very happy after. Primal though had a 6 season. Like I'm pretty sure was your worst race time a 152?
My worst time was a 153. That was
153.
It was like a mid 153. I got extremely lucky this season, I'll admit.
Yeah. I mean, you were killing it at the beginning of
pretty good average. I'm pretty happy with how I played overall.
Yeah. And then Raya didn't have the craziest tournament races off season. Like he got no IT world record before the race season started. He's getting 149s in races like every so often. Raya is by far just has to be the strongest red racer that there ever was. I'd have to think. Yeah, like it's pretty unanimous. Like it's
Raya.
It's mind blowing that he hasn't won yet, but it's coming. It's just a matter of time. Yeah, Raya is
quite silly.
Absolutely nuts.
But at the end of the day, like 3 similar skilled red racers in the finals, and there's 3. Like you can only make it to grand finals so much. But Araya's made it to grand finals like every time, right? Like,
yeah, 3 out of 4 he's made it to. So.
Jeez.
Yeah.
He'll get his
He'll
1
get
year.
it, yeah. I'm sure. But yeah, it's red decides at the end once, you know, you reach a certain level. We're all three at it, so yeah, that was a fun tournament. Would
Hopes for
recommend
next
for
year.
anyone considering. Yeah, I think we're gonna keep the format. Not confirmed entirely, but I think it worked out pretty well this year with the with the time agnostics.
Yeah, big fan of the change format. Could use a couple changes to the bracket, but I love the overall, like, your actual time doesn't matter. Like, it's only placement that matters.
Yeah, I think it was something that was adapted. Wasn't it adapted from the Heart Gold Soul Silver tournament? Like you guys were doing that initially?
No, I don't think
Maybe
we
the
did.
bracket
Like,
was similar. That's what it was. We
maybe.
had a upper and lower bracket was kind of an idea from there.
Yeah, the big difference is like second place got sent to losers and third place like would usually be eliminated, even
Yeah,
from
that's what we
winners.
had.
I
Oh,
think the
even from
tournament could
winners,
have
so
played
yeah.
faster.
So that
Yeah.
was changed. Yeah. Yeah, another really fun tournament to keep an eye on for everyone. It's the Heart Gold Soul Silver tournament that just started. What, did it start today?
Yep,
I'll say it
started
started
today.
recently. Yeah, and there's probably another match coming up in a few hours, I'd imagine.
There's one going on right now.
Okay, yeah. So everyone should be catching those. Racing is great.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I think that's enough talked about for the tournament. We can get on to the notable runs from October. So here we have Grogier's Blue Catch-em-all and 1:30:15.
Pretty ridiculous
Actually,
time.
crazy. I know, I'm not sure about a lot of the specifics of the route now, but I know it was pretty heavily rerouted pretty recently, like in the past year or so. You know, Shivu had record with a 132 for like a year or two. Like, it was a pretty long time. And then Grogier ended up getting record, and then Sadash took it back from him, and then Grogier just got it again just a couple days ago. The 1:30:15, beating previous record by like almost a minute. It's actually kind of crazy.
Yeah, and I think I saw a comment in the Discord about how like this is an actually better run. It's not just carried by the new route. This is like actually a better run than Shivu's as well. So it's finally like a good comparison between the two routes.
Yeah, I remember GifX was saying that he thought there'd have to be a few more route improvements in order for sub 130 to be possible, but this run kind of came out of nowhere, and he's thinking, you know, maybe just a few more changes, or it's a little bit of RNG. You know,
is Grogu gonna try for 129?
Sounds like it. Their comment after posting the time in the Discord says on to 129 basically.
Holy moly!
Yeah, and they're working actively on this route. It's been updated a lot, and specifically the past year, I know for sure. And the routers that work on this are just, they're geniuses. Like, this is not an easy category to route. You really have to understand the inner machinations of Gen 1, and I mean, it is a simple game, but yeah, it's not easy to route this at all, especially optimally. There's so many different ways you can go that aren't obvious. You have to think outside the box a lot. Really cool run though.
Now, is it just me, but is like the rendering of the video, the game feed, like
that's
really
Grogier's
smooth.
filter.
Yeah.
He uses like a pixel smoothing filter.
Yeah.
Everyone trashes him for it.
The Poketuber.
Rightfully so.
I don't know. I kind of like it. But
I don't hate it either.
It's weird because when you hard reset with this filter on, doesn't show like the fade out. It just goes straight to black,
Mm-hmm.
which catches people off guard.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to tell what's going on right now in this route. Especially if you've never seen a catch ball from before. It's pretty
there's
chaotic.
the fade out, for lack of one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this route's super interesting. Another one of the comments Groger made was that a lot of the time loss that they do have is in the desum section. So a lot of areas, Victory Road's actually one of them. What you do is you naturally get, like, let's say you're looking for 3 things, you naturally get maybe 2 of them, and then you do an LG, which is what we just saw to get Machamp, and then you do a hard reset because LGs require you to save and reset, and then you do that into a Manip. And so like this is the Manip for the Machop. There's lots of time that can be saved and lost in the desum sections, just because anyone who's done any Gen 1 non-Manip stuff knows desum can be really finicky. So it's exciting to see, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was a mixture of like glitches and also some more natural stuff like desums.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
There's definitely a skill to desum, but there's the element of randomness. You can never get the encounter to be 100%. Like, it's not like you could hit a certain frame and you'll always get the encounter. It's, you can only maximize your odds of getting what you want. So it's a bit of RNG, but there's definitely like shenanigans. Absolutely, just like I tried to match his. One time I was messing around with 124 glitchless or 124 classic, and I was trying to do desum in Safari, and shenanigans is capable of doing like 3-layer desum. Like, he uses more than one encounter to desum to figure out exactly where he is in the cycle. And I was just incapable of using that. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, he's insane at that.
He is very strong Safari desum, which I envy. So there's definitely a skill to that, but slight randomness regardless. Yeah, it's a good mix of that and a lot of really bizarre menus that from an outsider point of view you can't tell what's going on, but if you mess up one swap, the game just crashes and the run is over. So
Yeah.
Something I've wondered about the current route is, what's the deal with the Ekans? Like, I've never run this myself, but I watched a lot of runs back a few years ago, and back then he used Electrode, where you caught a Voltorb in Power Plant, boomed on Zapdos, and then rare candied and just had red bar. But apparently you catch this Ekans with just natural red bar.
Yep. It's really strange. It's, you catch it from an LG, it's like level 170 something, so it doesn't get outsped by anything, and it comes with natural red bar. LG Pokemon also comes statused with like 5 different status conditions. It's ridiculous. So you have to make sure you like paralyze heal it, otherwise you have super lag everywhere. But yeah, it just comes in with natural red bar, which is super strange. And it's like basically the first Pokemon you catch. First Pokemon you catch after you activate glitches, basically. You just use it as your main. But the menuing in this category is super weird as well, because like you have all the Gen 1 menu tricks that, you know, a lot of people know, but then you have to like apply them in these menus with really scary items that if you misclick, it's really bad. And also some of those items will lag. So if you're like, I'm going to hold down and move down 10 slots in your bag, it might take a little bit longer than normal because there's lag or something like that. So it's really easy to misclick something. That 9F item, if you use it while holding down, which sometimes you do if you try to double input, it will like warp you to a new area. It's so weird. This game doesn't make sense.
Alright, I think we can move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is Pokeguy's gold glitchless world record in 3:12:50.
Start with Ernest.
We,
get to the good
yep, this is definitely the low light of the run. He hit Ernest on the way back to Jasmine with a secret potion. Ernest is one of the many spinners in gold, and he has 3 Pokemon.
That's the second pass, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
Ooh.
second pass.
That
That's
sucks, because if
unfortunate,
you hit him the first
Who's
pass,
this
you can
one?
just
Yeah.
go past him without having to worry about him spinning.
Ernest did get like stuck on the first pass. I was trying to look like where when he hit him, but yeah, unfortunate.
No benefit to this XP at all? Or is there
Uh,
some benefit, I'd imagine?
I don't think so.
Nah, I don't think,
You're so over leveled at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I probably threw a
Oh.
wrench into his like PP routing, or maybe not. Maybe it's just taking away a couple of bites, which are plentiful. But yeah, that despite that, the rest of his run was pretty cracked out, and he managed to get the 312, which he has been looking for a while.
Mm.
And
Worth
congrats to
noting that
Pokeguy.
the previous record did hit a spinner too. It hit Rebecca
Yeah.
in Saffron Gym, which is the last spinner in the entire game. So it's crazy that it was beaten by this much and still hit a spinner.
Yeah, this early game is just
Very strong.
incredible. Wave was talking about it. He was like, this early game is super duper hard. He's just gonna like balance his splits out by taking the Ernest time losses and like dividing it 4 ways into the first 4 splits, like adding it. So
Clever.
that's how he's gonna do it when he comes back to gold, which is pretty soon. I'm guessing.
Yep, that would make sense.
Yeah.
If I recall correctly, Pokeguy had a time that was just short of record before he got this.
Yeah, his PB, which looked like it should have been record, but
he had a bad
on that run,
I
the
think.
Snorlax, the Snorlax, blindsided him. It went for body slam, which is like I believe 4% on its own, like goes for amnesia normally,
That's so sad.
and then it also crit the body slam, so he had to heal, and that's what costed record. Missed it by 6 seconds.
But that one was spinnerless, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think
Did
so.
he hit a spinner on that one too? Okay.
No.
this is
That
just-
one had a spinner too. I think he said he hasn't
Oh,
gotten a
it did?
PP without a spinner. Yeah, in gold.
Which one was it? Was it?
It was
Was it
one very
Rebecca?
early on.
Oh,
It was an early spinner, like in the first few splits. The pace is good enough to take. I think it was one that was slightly beneficial too. Someone said.
Daniel, maybe.
That sounds right. I think it was Daniel.
Yeah, one of the hikers. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, early on the experience would help a lot more, I'm sure.
But yeah, then he ends up having a sick red fight. Really sick. What's it crit? Is it Blastoise or the Snorlax? I forgot.
I think it was Snorlax.
Yeah, with Snorlax.
Yeah, so he gets payback on the Snorlax, which is poetic.
The karma, yeah.
It was already WR at that point, but just to kind of
I do kind of want to see it. I definitely
Make
miss
it-
this.
Yeah, you can see the second he realizes the HP bar is going further than it's supposed to, he gets quite excited.
And you go all the way.
Yeah.
It's good.
Revenge is sweet.
It's always great in these games with the slow HP bars because it's like, oh, it's going too far.
There was also one thing with didn't this world record mean that the sum of Gen 1 to 2 world records for like 80% glitches is now under 10 hours?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Ooh,
Oh,
right,
really?
that's nice.
It's wild.
Yep.
I believe this was like the oldest glitchless world record, like main series,
Mm-hmm.
like main
Yes.
category glitchless.
It,
Yeah,
Which is like-
I believe
yes.
that's the case, yeah.
We've said it like summer 2020, I want to say.
I think a lot of that has to do with not an incredible amount of runners for this game. at one
Yeah.
time, I would say. And there's good runners that play it occasionally, but it's not
Yeah, I feel like
something
there's
that's,
always
actively branded.
waves. There's
Mhm.
always like waves of Gen 2 runners.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're right. Because recently, I don't know if he's still doing it, but Tepic was learning gold, and then there was a fair number of people playing gold like pretty recently.
Yeah, like I think
Nerdy.
Vandio, Nerdy.
Yeah,
Big
video.
I feel like
It
the
also-
wave's already over.
Yeah, that's quite a barrier for
Quick.
entry as well with the manips. It's not as simple as learning one manip. You have to learn several frames for each manip. So you do have to put a decent amount of practice in to just start doing runs, and getting decent times. You're just expected to be hitting those manips every time. If you're going for
So
world
on the
record.
topic of manips, that's a great lead into our next run, which is Pokeguy's manipless record in gold.
He did
So-
that,
It's about 4.5 minutes slower, which is understandable. But anyone know what kind of Totodile he had here?
It was like
I
Oh,
can
gee,
show you because he has it in
F4?
the comments.
or
Okay,
oh,
not bad.
10 for EE.
Not quite Tucker tier.
No, not EFEF, but
Terrible.
yeah. This was like I believe his first like runnable Totodile.
Mhm.
Like the 71 attempts I did before were unrunnable, so he just ripped out this run. No splits, like nothing to compare against. It's pretty insane what he does. Like what can I say?
Yeah.
That's a rough barrier to entry for even this to get that
Yeah.
many unrunnables before you get one.
Mhm.
I don't think it normally goes that long.
Is that bad?
Yeah, no, that's just an
I
anomaly.
I can believe that.
Yeah. I guess one of the lowlights that we can highlight is that he hit Douglas twice. The spinner in Price's gym.
Everybody's
Okay.
favorite.
Yeah. Just a absolutely demonic spinner. He has like 6 pokes.
You have to pass twice.
Yeah. And Manipulus you saved for him, so that's why I'm saying
Douglas
that
has
he hit him
3.
twice.
Douglas has just 3, I think. He has doesn't
Oh, it
do
doesn't?
shelter and a cloister. Yeah.
In Manipt, you, I mean, it's pace dependent, but you can save for him, and then if you hit him, just Manip past him.
Yeah, it's one of the worst spinners to like prepare for because you're approaching from the ice. You don't even have a chance to like try and pause or anything.
Yeah, it's very much just get lucky. This recorded by like, well, this beat the previous record by almost a minute. I want to say, not exactly a minute.
Yeah, 318 sounds
Yeah,
about
like
right.
56 seconds, I think. So yeah,
Did that 318 date back to before people ran Manipt?
Nope, that
Um,
was nerdy.
like
no,
there's- I
this
feel like
is
there's-
Nerdy's from
Oh,
11 months
okay.
ago. Yeah,
'Cause I feel like recently there was a record in one of the Gen 2 games that Manipless, which was just happened before people did Manip. But I might be wrong. That might have been a few records back.
Is that Crystal?
It might
I
be
feel
close
like the
to
crystal one is
more likely.
it's only 3 years ago. I think that's during that's like post Finding Minute,
Oh yeah.
so it's still like a
Yeah, Crystal without Raikou sounds awful.
alright. Guess that's
You
it
move
for
on
Gen
to-
2.
Alright, I think I
That's
gotta
pretty
take off
recent.
now.
Alright. Thank you.
See you
Thanks,
guys. Good
Primal,
luck with
for
the
your
rest of the
time.
No
podcast.
problem.
Primal.
Have fun at work if you can.
I will try my best.
So
Bye.
Bye.
bye. Alright, so
This
here
one
we
is-
have Wave Warrior from just yesterday.
Less than 24 hours ago.
156.50 in Sapphire. Finally the 156. This run was quite incredible after Brawly, I think he said. One of the, well, it's the first record using the new Abra route. Does anybody else have anything to say? Because I didn't really see too much of it.
Yeah, well, from what I kind of like saw from from the comments, it was just like the only notable issues with the run was you missed a run to bite, and then there was a bad menu after catching Kyogre. Which, if that's the only notable bad things,
there was like a series of blunders after catching Kyogre, notably just because of like nerves, but
nerves, absolutely, yeah.
Rival 3.
As I say, Mockwing in chat says main time loss was Rival 3 and got a bit trolled on Norman, but everything was very clean after Rival 3.
Let's go to Rival 3, Dan. Yeah, like, well, it seemed like almost every day, or maybe it was every day even, that there was a hype run ping for Wave.
If not multiple.
Yeah, if
hype
not
run pings.
Like, being pushing this run like quite hard from my understanding. And also,
yeah, it was long coming for him.
Yeah, and there was a lot of activity in Ruby Sapphire in general, just because of the GDQ showcase they had last weekend.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of why Wave returned to Sapphire, just because like he was down to do the GDQ hotfix races with Amoeba and Mockwing and those guys.
And we've been told the new bad bit of this run. Thank you.
Oh, it's the Rival 3 split, but it's the Shelly fight. Gotcha.
Apparently, we will see in a second, but Shelly.
It's the Mightyena.
Yeah,
that has
into
swagger.
I'm used to Oras. There's just a Sharpedo here, which can still go bad, but.
Yeah, I gotta say that. Scary.
I feel like
as well.
I feel like out of all the things that can go wrong in Sapphire, to have this as your worst thing, so you take that every day. This run is really good. I feel like it got like way better around like TNL and Archie 3, where like those fights have the potential to just be slow, but you got some nice fights there.
Well, what is it for TNL? It's just adapt.
Yeah, right there.
He had Torn for Winova as well, so that made that split. He gets 3 gold splits in a row, and then you'd imagine on world record pace you're getting quite worried that there's still a manip coming up. He was saying this is the first time he had to do the Kyogre manip on world record pace. He's been like trying to catch up, like maybe slightly behind world record pace going for a manip, but this was the first time he was like pretty solidly ahead, and I think the route has a little time save at the end too. So
the idea of doing a minute on world record pace does not. I mean, it's ideal in the sense that you're on world record pace, but having to like the stress, I imagine, like, to some level, not ideal, surely.
It is really stressful. This whole run was just stress, even watching it. Can't imagine how it would be to play it. Also, like I kept like thinking to myself, "Oh my god, he has to do the ice puzzle after hitting this minute too." Like, so much. You can't just like cruise to this record. You had to like also play pretty damn well. In like Victory Road, big execution tests. So yeah.
Yeah, so I think if gold was the longest main series record standing before Pokeguy beat it, this one was probably close second, because Shear's previous record is over 2 years old. August 2020.
I think that checks out.
And there's not a lot of, I think the the top 4, the next 2 runners are all 3 years, Exarian and Gunner. So there's not been a lot of super high-end times in this game in quite some time. Which hopefully we'll see more with the new route.
Yeah, I know.
Which I guess eliminates the main issue, which was Brook.
I think for glitches, the only one that might be older is Pulse's Ultra Sun Ultra Moon on all 3DS. But I don't know if Wartab's.
That's not like actually record though, because Wartab's runs are not submitted.
Did Wartab beat that one? I know he's done.
I mean, I don't think Pulse's run. Well, Pulse's run is like not record if you consider Wartab's PB, which is like more recent.
Yeah, I just don't know if Wartab had done the more recent one on all 3DS, because I know he did new 3DS, and I remember he did old 3DS for Sun and Moon, I think.
Yeah, he's done. He's done all the games, all the consoles.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Oh, I guess one thing to mention here is that Wave got the good Kyogre, the mild Kyogre. So the run just doesn't really have many blemishes.
So I was kind of looking at what Wave's times were in other games, and with this time he has the record in Emerald any percent glitchless, and then Ruby Sapphire. So we'll see if he goes for the Gen 3 sweep or goes to something else.
I'm not sure if he's really motivated to play
Fire
Red.
Oh.
Hoenn sweep is
Hoenn Gen 3 sweep.
Pretty prestigious.
He has the Hoenn
in its own
yeah.
right.
Yeah, I think his favorite part about Hoenn too is the mock bike movement, because there is a huge skill gap for that, and he absolutely nails it most of the time.
Yeah,
so.
I can see that being a.
So it's something that's missing in Fire Leaf Green that might not.
Yeah, that bike sucks.
RG3 now by Canon.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, is that everything for Gen 1 to 3, or?
I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, looks like it.
So then.
Nice to see some good times here.
Yeah, we've got something from every main Discord, which is quite nice. You don't normally always get that.
So this is Rubentus's Heart Gold Manipulus world record, 341.05, beating my old great record of 342.32. I was asleep during this, so forgive me if I don't know much about it, but this run is very good, despite this one spinner that he hit here in Claire's gym. The carp split time is incredible. 1:10.01. This run had just the most amazing early game. Best early game out of any run by far. I believe it started with like a 24 Faulkner, which is something that only Rubentus has gotten, I'm pretty sure. And he's gotten like 5 times, because he might just be the luckiest early game player. But yeah, the rest of his run is no joke as well. Like, besides the spinner, he has a faster Kanto time than me, which I prided myself on in my run. So this run is just really good. One of the strongest records in DSPSR right now. Even stronger than like most, if not all, of the main category runs right now. Yeah, that's what a 110 Magikarp can do for you. This Carp was also... It's also like not... It's like inoffensive, you know? It's like... It's good all around. Like, the bad special attack isn't much to hang your head down about. I still think it got like the Brock one turn. So this is just... This was a really good run in the making, and Rubentus worked hard for this run. Definitely deserved. So GG's to him.
Also, Ananan pointing out another Johto record with the spinner.
Yeah. For some reason, that's just a trend now. That my PB did not have a spinner, so thanks, Rubentus. You're up and up the average of spinners in HGSS records. What else is there to say? I feel like I was gonna say something. Oh, the tournament. The tournament's going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
This was like, I don't know. It sort of like picked up momentum. Like HGSS as a category, it started picking up momentum, and then we start to, get into talks about another tournament, and it's happening now. So, be sure to check out the tournament.
Yeah.
Prentice is your first seed now, and I'm your second seed, and yada yada.
Yeah, in fact, Hooker has. You have your race in an hour almost.
Yeah, I do.
So we should probably get a bit of a move on, I guess, technically. But I guess also one last thing. Thank you, Dexy, for pointing this out, inadvertently helping me in the comments.
Dexy classic.
Dexy classic.
All right, and this is the other DSPSR record from this month. It's Skoa's 3:13:30 in challenge mode, white 2. Right there you see one of the more tilting parts about this run, where he encountered a dust cloud. Luckily, it wasn't a Pokemon. It was only an ice gem, but the most tilting ice gem ever. So this run was best pace up until Elisa, but at the Elisa fight, he suffered some time loss. It's nothing too unusual. And then I believe he also got a shaking grass encounter after Clay. And then he had a bad Marlin on top of that, where he suffered like, I think 3 deaths, which just means that he didn't get any of the flinches or any good crits. Which is kind of what you have to hope for in white 2 now. Yeah, he if that doesn't make it very obvious, then he's not too happy with this run. He still thinks that it's like a weak record, but honestly, like, not many other people are trying to get this record, and he's definitely lowered the standard, or raised the standard for this category by a lot, just by the grind that he's been on. It's no slouch in my opinion.
You mentioned bad Marlon. I feel like every single time White 2 is being shown, like, on the podcast for the record, there's always been a bad Marlon. It's like, it's normally
it's either like always good or always bad.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you can't really have one in between. Yeah, you either just don't die or you do die. That's just the nature of Marlin in white 2. Yeah. Also,
sorry, go on.
Also E4, like, kind of the same with Marshall. In this E4, he had like 1 flinch Marshall, which is like, I guess you can say like average. He was definitely hoping for something better. But he also went for the Hydreigon range, which was like a 6 and 16, which he missed, but he flinched the Hydreigon, so that's also like kind of averages out. So that part of the game was like average, and then you add on that dust cloud and just some like not incredible luck, and makes for a improvable end game. So yeah, he definitely wants a 312, but I don't think he's gonna push too hard for it. Like he said that he's almost at wit's end with this category, and he's looking to move on very, very soon. Which I don't blame him for. White 2 is just, you can only get so much white 2, even for Sko Coco. But yeah, props to him for getting 313. Good luck on 312 on your one last stream.
Oh, hopefully Sko can get that done. Then on to Ekman's room, which, eddaket, if you want to lead in with this.
Yeah, so this is Ekman's Ultra Moon time on old 3DS. It's the second place on the leaderboard with a 556. I don't know too much about Usum, but the notes we have. So it's just over a minute behind Pulse's time, which is the current first place. Obviously, we were talking about that earlier with
Cortana's unsubmitted run.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean the run was pretty solid. No deaths or optionals. But took about a 1 to 2 minute detour to get a fossil back up. I'm assuming that's for fling.
Yeah,
Stuff.
he like accidentally sold a fossil, and then he had to like
Oh,
he had to take a detour to get a hard stone, which has like the same base power.
gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, that costed the leaderboard first place.
But yeah, other than that, really solid run. Good way to sort of finish off. I think the 3DS competition ends today. Tomorrow.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, it's something like that. But yeah, this was him playing this game was like it was like a business decision in my eyes. It's like, you know, it's just to get the time on the competition leaderboard, and he certainly got a good run here. So yeah, I think he's satisfied with this 100%. Yeah, congrats to Ekman.
Absolutely.
Ekman in chat, are you satisfied with this run? And in the meantime, eddaket, I mean, this is you.
One of the layouts of all time, yeah. I think all of his splits are just like one big copy pasta, just split up.
Awesome.
It's really funny.
It was
The haulage at the bottom is great.
Yeah.
Ekman
layouts.
But yeah, so moving on to Switch, this is my run from earlier this week. Let's go EV any percent 259.47. This is sort of like last time. I think I was on the podcast last time for Let's Go EV any percent record. More of a technicality because no one really runs this. And this run is not as good as the Pika counterpart. This would have been about a low 303, maybe high 302 without the mount skips. But the main difference between this run and the last run was I actually hit all 4 of the mount skips. So had 0 optionals here. Run overall was okay. You can see by the splits, I lost a ton of time in Mount Moon because I got a Chansey, which gave me a ton of extra experience. And then that extra experience didn't really help me at all throughout the run. So I was able to save a lot of that time back. I was basically even with my 2019 PB coming out of the catching section. And then the rest of the run was solid. I lost a bit of time in the final gym, but that was really about it. The EV itself was okay, like I said. It was mostly carried by just really good catching in the mid game. Save a lot of time. Yeah, other than that, really not a whole lot to say. This can definitely be improved. I'd rather get a 301 or a 300 in no mount skips than to push any percent further. But I'm kind of doing runs where I'm choosing which one I want to do halfway through the run. So if the run is not as good, I'll do any percent, basically. That's the way I'm treating it.
Yeah, fair. I mean, if you're able to do that, may as well.
Yeah, it's technically you lose a little bit of time because the main. So you have to decide which category you're doing about an hour and 50 minutes in. So if you know Let's Go Speedruns, once you get to C skim, you have to decide because that's when you would go get Aerodactyl if you're doing any percent. But the one sort of decision you have earlier is you normally sell the Helix fossil for money. But if you're getting Aerodactyl, then getting Ammonite as well is just super fast. So I don't sell the Helix fossil. I instead sell 3 revives, which is 500 Pokédollars less. So it messes up the shopping a little bit. It ends up working out fine, but you're kind of a little bit more strapped for X items in that case. But other than that, that's really the sort of difference between the two until you hit about, like I said, an hour 50, 2 hours into the run. But yeah, I also just looking at my catch tracker, I forgot how wacky this catch route was. I didn't evolve either Machop, or Cubone, which are nice to not evolve, just because they're both 4-level evolutions instead of 1 level. But usually you need the extra Pokemon. But I had so many bonuses with everything else.
Actually, yeah, Aerodactyl would count as a bonus as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, Aerodactyl, and then you get the Omanite and Omastar, which can replace something like Coughing, or like a late game catch. So it is pretty cool. And I was actually talking to Etchy a bit last night because we were on GDQ Hotfix doing a race between Pika and Eevee, and it's almost more fun because you have those extra 3 Pokemon buffer. Like, you very rarely have to worry about catches after you get Staryu, where normally you like sometimes need to get Tentacool, sometimes need to get Coughing, sometimes your catch route is super bad and you need to get something like Magmar. But you, with those 3 extra Pokemon, you're almost always like way over budgeted on Pokemon. So it almost makes it a bit more relaxed, and you don't have to teach Hydro Pump, so you don't have to you don't actually use any non-accurate moves in the entire run, which is also super awesome.
Yeah, that actually sounds kind of nice.
Yeah. You buy a $20 controller that can move in straight lines, and you don't have to use Hydro Pump ever. So there it is.
I feel like some people would love to pay more than $20 just to not have to hit Hydro Pumps.
Yeah, it's one of the. I mean, technically, depending on like how certain fights go, you might have to use something like Drill Run. But aside from that, it's one of the only Pokemon speedruns that doesn't have inaccurate moves in it now. Almost every Pokemon run has some sort of, Rock Slide or even like early gen Tackle. But yeah, every single move that you use in this is 100% accurate, which is awesome.
Well done for managing to get this run, the run to that point. Well, I guess Etchy would get the main thanks for that. Was it actually Etchy?
Yeah.
Etchy was Etchy, yeah. Etchy put a lot of time into this.
A ton of time. I basically just followed the video that he posted and was able to do it.
Fair. Right. On to my run. Sword any percent 1.2 plus, second place 406.22. This was a really good run up until this fight. Like the splits through, like up through to the 3rd gym, I was ahead by a minute and a half, I feel like, something like that, which is like the fact that I was ahead of I do even beat my pre 1.2 times, which are a minute and a half slower. It says something, and at this point being ahead is impressive. But as I quickly skip forward the Snorlax and accidentally press a down input and use Swift, that one input cost me like a minute, because I almost died there. I feel turns out hail doesn't take that or doesn't deal damage when you move, or like when it comes back in. I didn't know that was the thing, because I thought I was dead at that point.
Yeah.
So then heal to full, I get hit by Body Slam, which
No para though.
not yet.
Not
no.
Foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing, because I had to set the rain dance back up again.
Oh.
So set the rain dance back up. Here comes in with Body Slam, paralyzes me, and then I have to heal again. Well, I have to heal heal in general, then clear the paralysis. So basically that split cost me a 405 very easily. But yeah, literally this was the only really bad split that was down to me. Bayer, the fourth gym, there was a Bayer time save based on just not getting detect from far-fetched, and it hit him on top, uses counter. But yeah, that's kind of that's really the only thing. It was a really, really good run up until this point. So I've got to keep going. But yeah. They move on to
Good nature too.
Oh yeah, the nature as well. Yeah, it was like
Modest.
modest, yeah. So and like very good special attack modest as well. Like that was the first one of those I've had in a long time. So just being able, to be fair, to be able to like get to a run that far ahead, you gotta be happy. But gotta keep going. But yeah, eddaket, back to you for Legends Arceus.
Yeah, so this is a Legends Arceus sort of double feature. This is Valkyrie getting a 339 in both Japanese and English. According to Hulk, the Japanese time is not as good as the English time. The English time is more representative of like a, you never want to say like a perfect run, but like a really, really good run. One of the main sort of differences between both of these runs and the last records is a new party management strategy here in Crimson Mirelands. So normally what you do is, so like half the fights in Legends you have to win and the other half you don't. And so you go from basically losing a fight in the Solaceon Ruins, and then you have to come over here and win this fight. And the old strategy would be you die to the first fight with a low-level Shinx, and then you would go back, withdraw your whole party basically, and use Staravia here against Coin. But basically what Hulk started doing was catching a Psyduck on the way over here. So you catch a Psyduck, you use Psyduck to beat the Toxicroak fight, and then you catch a Carnivine and 2 Teddiursa, and you have the full party space for that. You keep the Teddiursa in your party so you can evolve them to get the research points, and you can use the Carnivine and the Psyduck against the Ursaluna later on. And so it ends up being quite a bit faster because you don't have to do any party management here. You can go in with your level 9 Shinx and immediately just start catching stuff and winning the fights. So really cool runs. Like I said, the first one here was the Japanese run. The English run was either the next day or like a couple days later. And yeah, both of those were really really great to see. Long grinds from Valkyrie to try to bring in these 2 339s. He's also had a couple of marathon runs that we're actually going to be seeing a little bit later on. That sort of fueled some of this grinding for him.
Yeah, like it was mad because it was like the space of 10 hours over these times.
Yeah, that's what it was. Okay.
Really
yeah, the hype runs channel in Switch is basically every time Hulk gets on a run. And it's not even like it's just every run. It's like every run is pretty good going into late game. It's just and actually that's something worth mentioning about the English time. So Hulk sort of had to make a choice. So one of the last things you have to do in the run is you have to catch Dialga. And Dialga is the sort of safe way you can do the fight is you can lead the Sneasel and go for a strong close combat to knock it down into red health. The only way that messes up is if you crit. Crits are 1 in 24, so it's pretty unlikely, but still obviously possible. And then after you do the close combat to knock it down into low health, you're supposed to bring in your Haunter and do a strong style hypnosis, which is 70% to hit, I think, or 90%. It's really, really likely to hit. And once you have it in red health and drowsy, it is almost a guaranteed catch. It's not guaranteed, but it's like as good as you're going to get. Instead, what Hulk opted to do here was to just sort of get it into red health and then throw the Ultra Ball immediately. This is a 50% catch, but it saves about 25 seconds. And so earlier this segment, he lost 25 seconds to the Hamato fight. So took the gamble, basically, got the 50% catch, which solidified the 339. And Hulk has had a really bad stretch of Dialga catches between PBs, close to PBs, and marathon runs. It was something like 4 in a row where something would go wrong. So it was good to see it finally work out.
Yeah, and also like I think the comment from Hulk is like in addition to this was like he's happy with these times now.
Yeah.
Can go into Scarlet Violet with a bit of peace of mind, I guess. And yeah, that rounds out the Switch runs. Well, the Switch mainline runs. We're going to start with the Switch run actually with the side games. Martin Scorsese with New Snap second place. A 2:32.07, which was a 1 second PB, but 1 second PB is still a PB. Had to do a re-entry and going into the forest, and like this is where he kind of finds out that he has to do that. Just short a few points to unlock the next section, which is a bit unfortunate. But other than that, though, quite a fairly solid run. The snap runs, or it seems like at least at the top level, the new snap runs tend to be fairly consistent because too much variance I guess you can get. As long as you're taking the pictures at the right time, you'll typically tend to get through. And I guess this time with the forest here. But other than that, there wasn't too much to talk or bring home about, I thought. So going on to Eponymous's first PMD beat Darkrai world record this month. This is Explorers of Darkness, no Wonder Mail, English, DS/3DS. 8 hours, 3 minutes and 22 seconds. It was originally an any percent run, but finding 2 gummies in this section, which is the only section in the game, like the only dungeon in the game where you can find blue gummies. So being able to find the 2 of them, he decided to go into a beat Darkrai run from there. In the 80% section, there was several monster houses, which is not ideal. But for the post game to get to Darkrai, other than Dark Crater, it went really well, apparently so. And that led to a new world record there. And then the second one from Explorers of Sky, beat Darkrai, this time with Wonder Mail, and on English, the English version, DS/3DS. This coming in a much quicker time with a 6:53.13. I don't know what the difference is in terms of the 2 games as to why Explorers of Darkness just takes a longer time to get to Darkrai. Maybe there's just some things in Sky that were introduced that makes it a bit quicker. But yeah, this was
the
actually,
first one no Wonder Mail and this one Wonder Mail?
The first one was no Wonder Mail. This one is Wonder Mail. So that would be the difference. Yeah, the Wonder Mail being able to input codes to get items that can help you level up or do whatever you want. That would save you some time. Yeah, thank you for pointing that out.
No worries. It's a long like category in our list here. So.
Yeah, it's very
with all the variables.
Yeah. Some of the Switch runs are getting close, to be fair. Well,
yeah.
I can't even take the mick out of it now. But yeah, this was done though as part of an all icons run, so the even longer category of Explorers of Sky. But while the all icons run, whilst that didn't finish, managed to get to at least beating Darkrai, and that ended up being a world record and a 10-minute PB. So very, very solid run there. And then the last mystery dungeon, also Explorers of Sky run. This is SBD Wolves. Any percent Wonder Mail English DS/3DS world record. A 4:58.14. And I'm just going to take a quote from SBD Wolves, like SRC comment, which was a very cursed run. Skitty was at level 8 at the start of Apple Woods, which you'll have just seen a bit earlier here. And when feeding the golden seeds, which will help level you up, didn't realize he was at level 8, which you meant to wait until level 9 so you can get to level 29 and learn Feint Attack. And I assume absolutely just crushed the game at that point. But that just led to a series of cursed things happening throughout the rest of the run, pretty much. The run overall, though, other than that one particular thing, very strong early game and end game. So ignoring that, it was just a really, really good section. So congrats on that world record, SPD Wolf. And then finally, 2 very rare runs, I feel like. So I had to put these on. This is Sue's Hey You Pikachu, any percent second place, a 1:10:06. I have no idea what happens in this game. I've played this game. I can't tell you. It's a game. It is a game. But a very quick time. And then also Detective Pikachu, second place for Gonzi. A 5:22:48. Both of these runs done in Japanese, but there is no separation between the languages on the leaderboards. Very interesting cutscene. Have any of you played the Detective Pikachu games?
I have
not.
Nope.
Nope. Neither have I. But I've seen the film. But yeah, again, can't really tell you too much about the run, but it is just interesting to know. Not often you see Detective Pikachu runs. I think this is the 4th one on the leaderboard. So, gotta give at least a shout out to it in some sense. And this rounds out all the noted runs. So, Ian, want to go over the marathon runs that have been.
Sure. I'm not sure which one we have here. This is RPG Limit Break 2022, a race between Etchy and Kizaron. I think this one was supposed to happen a while back, and then it got delayed because of COVID. I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, this was the 2020 acceptance for RPG Limit Break, and then obviously everything happened.
Yeah, so we're kind of just going to show this one, I guess, while we kind of go through the list here. So we have, first up, ASAP 2022. I want to figure out what this acronym means.
Australian Speedrunning. The Australian one. Oh, Australian Speedrunning at PAX,
Okay.
I think it was. I should have put that out fully. I have a few of these, I think, sorry.
No worries. So we had Crunchy VT do New Snap any percent. They got a time of 2:48:35. Then we had a Japanese marathon speedrunners Kawaii Zone, Shua, who's been quite active in the Switch community. They were running BDSP Cat Shaman in 24:23. And then we had Speedrumizer, which I assume would be, looks like it could be a randomizer, or it could be not, I don't know. This category doesn't look like a randomizer though. Alpha 5, trading card game 80% glitchless, no reset or manip, and 104:52. RPG Limit Break 2022, aside from the race between Kizaron and Etchy, we had a pretty close race in this one. As you can see, I can see why you've selected this part of the run to showcase here. We had a close finish within 4 seconds of each other. I don't know who actually won. We'll watch and see.
Etchy won. Sorry.
Oh, you spoiled it.
Sorry. Sorry, I just thought you were asking.
I was gonna wait just to see when it plays out, so everybody can see. That's okay. Cool. That's a very, very nice close finish for quite a long category like this one. Especially since it's the 2 different games, very different routes as well, so very nice to see. We also in this marathon had Like a Noob doing Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Blue Rescue Team, 80% No Wonder Mail, 205:53, and then there was a Crystal Rando Triop Blackout Bingo run by Zoe Vermillion, Leggy Starscream, and Dijon Ketchup in 151:58. Moving on, at Speed Souls Charity Marathon 2022, Nerd Squared with Shining Pearl 90% No Out of Bounds in 106:20. And then there was another marathon, Green Gaming Fest. There was quite a lot of Pokemon content, including myself, in this one. It was a really great marathon. First up we had Fury ST doing Brilliant Diamond any percent glitchless, 3:32:11. This was with music off, but there was an incentive to play the Hoenn, specifically Oras soundtrack, with the automatic music tool. So a pretty solid time there. Then we had PrimalPizza, who had to leave the podcast, unfortunately. He had to, I think, go to work. He did red any percent glitchless with no instant text with 2 hours 28. I didn't see much of that run, but I think he had some issues.
Yeah, I think there was a death on Oddish Girl without save. Usually you'll skip save there, but there are catastrophic things that can happen that are very unlikely, and one of those things happened to happen. So it ends up losing about like 3 minutes, and you have to take care of money management afterwards as well, which is a lot. Yeah, it's a lot of time for a very short run.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, still like a decent turnout for all that happened there. He handled it well.
Nice. And then finally we had I think it was the second last run of the entire marathon. I did a race with Spider C, and naturally with us two in this race, it was of course a sword versus shield, don't get Urshifu race. Really got a chance to showcase all our work that we put into rerouting this. It was a pretty good race until I think Clara 3. I think Spider had a couple deaths there, and it was at that point a blowout, unfortunately. I got a 1:14:04, Spider got 1:19:14, but we definitely put on a really good showcase of that category. I don't think either of us, I think we all both had to revert to backup saves as well in that one. I don't recall too much else. Oh yeah, there was an incentive in this one for people could donate for the Sobble versus Sobble or Arcanine versus Ninetales, and there was quite a heated bid war. I think it ended up being the highest incentive in terms of money raised for the entire marathon, which is pretty cool. And I know Jordan was very satisfied how that bid war turned out, because it ended up being Sobble versus Sobble. So it was very interesting because our estimate was extremely high for this one, and because we submitted it before we rerouted it, so we both beat the estimate by quite a fair amount. Even Spider, who had a rough go with Clara, and even the Arcanine Ninetales, they're not even close to being the fastest alt mains. So that goes to show how quickly things changed for that category. Moving on to Game Over Cancer Fall 22, we had Tucker with Soul Silver any percent glitchless in 3:41:53. Tucker, how was that?
The run was pretty smooth actually. I got the minute first try, which was great, which means that I didn't have to deal with any of the resets, and I was gonna make it well under estimate. I did. I also didn't have to like use any of my backups, which would have like made it a technically invalid run. I was just hoping that I wouldn't come to that. And yeah, I actually missed PB by like only 6 seconds, so it was a good run.
Wow.
But I'm hoping that I can get a better time in one of the next marathons that I'm doing. Same category.
And this was MaddiicT, right, with an older route?
Yeah, MaddiicT with one of the older seeds being used. Yeah, so
Nice.
that was a good time. Definitely down to do it again.
All right, great. And moving on, we've got 4 more marathons to quickly go over here at Brat Halloween 2022. This is a Brazilian marathon. We had LD with Red Custom Starter 2:54:08. I don't know what that starter is.
Oh,
Neither do I.
Hopefully we can figure that one out. And then we had TSO 2015 or TSO 15 doing a Fire Red Kaizo Ironmon to Brock in 1:38:12. So it sounds like that was essentially a tough go at things. I'm not exactly sure how this ROM works, if it's a ROM or if it's or how that would go, but I'm not too familiar with that run.
I think if I remember correctly, when I took a brief look to get the time, I believe that was underestimate. So.
Oh, okay.
Whatever that meant in that situation, I think they could be happy with it at least. Or the marathon organizers would be happy. And I'm almost found it. I think it looks like Charizard.
Oh, for the custom starter, okay.
Yeah, like a level 8 Charizard fighting the Bulbasaur right now. So yeah,
okay.
That's pretty solid. I assume it's Charizard. Sorry.
Oh, thanks for clarifying. Moving on, we have Pace 2022. Halkari did 2 runs of this one. This is the second of the 2, which is X any percent. It's kind of interesting seeing Halkari do something that's not Legends Arceus. Halk got a 4:10.54 here, which is pretty, I guess, good time for a marathon. I'm not too familiar with this run. I know roughly that the fast times are sub 4, but pretty good showcasing of the category, I'm sure, in this one. If anyone knows about any of these runs and how they went, feel free to jump in here. And then Halk did, of course, his bread and butter Legends Arceus 80% with a 3:49.54. That was, I think, the first run he did, or at least the first on this list. And then rounding out the field for Pokemon speedruns at pace, we had Glenjamin do Poke Park Wii any percent with the 2:25.37. The next marathon here, it looks like this is a Spanish marathon, and I'm going to try to pronounce this Marathon Solidaria para Amnistia. We had Kemi Goku 2 do Emerald Randomizer Evolution Chaos. Those are always fun. Diego Armando 1879. I won't say the 1879 in Spanish.
Go for it now.
Try to embarrass myself here. Crystal Extreme full item randomizer. So two more randomizer type runs that were showcased there. And then rounding out the field for marathon runs in this past month or so, we had Runs to the Rescue 2022, Filthy Scrub Gaming with LGE, which is that Let's Go Eevee?
Yes.
Okay. Any percent 4:13.26, and GL Phoenix doing Sword any percent with DLC. So I believe, yeah, GL Phoenix is quite a prolific runner of the Sword Shield DLC categories. And 4:02.58. That's a pretty decent time for a marathon.
Really good time.
Any idea what their main was here?
Again, no. I will quickly get that. There's a few more marathons though.
I think it was Marshtomp.
Ooh.
Yeah. Which Marshtomp is better than Swampert in the Dynamax Adventure. Fun little fact.
Oh, just because of like moveset?
Yeah, the moveset's a bit different. I forget specifically what I think it's because you get Ice Punch.
Ooh, okay.
But yeah.
Yeah. I saw it.
And I lied. There are actually a couple more marathons, 3 more here. I don't know if Jordan added them quickly or it's just because the page.
That is just how the document split up.
Yeah. So we had Interglitch's Cogito Ergo run, which is a French marathon. We had Etienne versus Alwo in Diamond Pearl any percent Manipulus. As a race, 1:20.39, I believe, for Etienne, and 1:10.31 for Alwo. So hopefully it was close for most of it. Well, I'm not sure where those major time losses you would get in that category would be.
Could be doing the, what do you call it, where you go out of bounds. Tweaks, thank you. Could be doing the tweaks. Also, with it being Manipulus, it could just be a difference in
hidden powers or IVs or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we had last night. There was actually I did a run for a marathon Dog Pound Expo, Shining Pearl any percent glitchless with the music on. The timer was a bit messed up. It was actually a low 354. I think it was 354.10 or something. I don't actually remember. That run was I've only been coming back to this for a few weeks, so a little bit not quite as good as I'd like to be, but definitely I've gotten some good times in PB attempts recently. This run featured Spear Pillar Classic, so I got through M&J cleanly, and then I got through everything on Cyrus, and then I got Dig Crit from the Weavile.
Oh
so
no!
Do everything again.
Oh my god.
And then coming back and attempt number 2, I died to M&J, but I revived. But it was a very slow fight there, so I probably lost. I don't know how much time you lose for all that, but it was above estimate as a result. Probably would have been like 340 something, low 340 maybe. I don't actually know. Well, I also had a death to Maylene, so I had a very clean setup where I didn't have to X speed. So I think I didn't take any damage. Yeah, no damage from the MaddiicT at all. And then I got, so I was outsped by the Lucario, and it chose Metal Claw and crit me. So I didn't do that fight again. So other than that, it wasn't a terrible run. It was been fun coming back to that category. That's all I'll have to say about that one. And then finally, the last marathon run in the last month. Just yesterday, we had Genesis at FTLG X McRae. I don't know what FTLG means.
For the love of gaming, I believe it is. And
for
then
the love of
yeah, and then it's like I think I'm going to assume it's a collaboration with McRaeathon, which is the rally games.
Ah, I see. Yeah.
That's my assumption. I could be wrong.
And the marathon's called For the Love of the 90s, so I assume it's any games that came out in the 90s. And that would make sense because Genesis did Red and Blue, 90% no item underflow. That game did come out in the 90s.
It did indeed. And
Fun
yeah.
fact.
That one's actually coming up for either it just finished or it is going on right now because it says 12th of November here.
Yeah,
at
I think
6:20 UK time. So I think it's
yeah.
done.
It'll probably be done now, but I think it wasn't done when we
started
before the marathon, so I just couldn't get the time. I guess I could have got it earlier, lots of things, but I didn't think that far ahead. It is what it is.
It's all good. All right, and then we've got a few marathons coming up in the next month, taking us through November into early December. I'll just roll through these really quickly. We have 1 hour. We have 1 hour-thon, which is a Japanese marathon. Waikrin Stadium Gold Silver Challenge Cup Master Ball Round 1. That'll be the 13th of November, early in the morning UK time, 2:40-ish. Slurpathon 2022, Tayman ND with Puzzle League One Player Stadium Super Hard. That'll be on the 13th of November at about 4:20 UK time, PM. Then we have Fastest Furs Fall Fest 2022. We have M-Chan 338 Yellow Any Percent Glitchless. That'll be 13th of November at about 6:13 PM UK time. Then we have really, really long-a-thon 6, so lots of really long Pokemon runs. Of course, Pokemon is notorious for being longer than a lot of speed games. We have 5 or 6 runs here, so very, very busy Pokemon schedule on this one. Filthy Scrub Gaming, Let's Go Eevee, Catch 'em All Dex Order. That sounds like it would take a while. 3rd of December, 3:40 AM. Dasfero Coliseum 100%, 21st of December at 5:07 UK time. Tucker, Soul Silver, any percent glitchless. It's probably not as long as the other two, or the others we'll see here, but still decently long. I'm assuming the same route as your last marathon.
Yeah, same one.
Nice. That will be 22nd of November at about 5:27 p.m. Following day, about 24 hours later, we have our two goats of PLA, Halkery and Shady, doing PLA co-op catch-em-all. Not sure if this will be in person or it'll be remote, but should be a good show regardless. I know Hulk was over in Europe and did a run with Shady in person, so that was kind of cool to see. So that one should be pretty long, a pretty good run to watch as well. And then we have Amber and Joker doing Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee Diploma. That'll be New Year's Day at 9 p.m. ish UK time. And then finally Fury doing Brilliant Diamond Elite Four Round 3. That's a fun one. 2nd of January at 8 p.m. And then I think is this our last marathon? Yes. Butter Blitz, 3rd of December, Conception, doing Pearl Any Percent Manipulus. Then we have a Crystal Full Item Randomizer co-op. I think what looks like immediately after Conception's run, which is featuring Bash Prime, the Ginger Chris, and Badja Blood. And then the next day at about 7:20 p.m., Tayman and D doing another run of Puzzle League one-player Stadium Super Hard. So they're getting a couple marathons showcasing this category in the next month or so. Good to see. All right, that rounds out our marathons completed. A couple cool things to kind of just go over here. There was a 20th anniversary Ruby Sapphire special on GDQ, a hotfix show, just recently. It's hard to believe it's been 20 years since these two games came out, but we had some races that were showcased here throughout the day, including our new record holder Wave. Not too sure how everything went, but I'm sure a lot of fun was had. Anyone want to add comments to this?
I think, yeah. Wave basically started off this race with like missing Mudkip Manip like 12 straight times, and he lost the race by like 3 minutes. So yeah, that was how it went. He also said, like, in practice, he could not miss the Mudkip, so it's just how the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, typical. You can't emulate the your mentality when you're actually there and doing the marathon or on a PB attempt or whatever it is.
Yeah.
World record pace.
And then the next thing is that we already talked about it a little bit here, but we have the Heart Gold Soul Silver Manipulus tournament that's just started today. There is a race that is happening, I think right now. Yep, it looks like it's probably coming to a finish soon. Bouncy, All-Star Rider, and Galino are racing currently. And we've got lots more races, including Tucker, who's going to be going in about 20 minutes. So best of luck on your race.
Thank you.
Fuck Tucker.
Do it for the podcast.
Yeah. You win, we all win.
Yep. Yeah, we'll share that prize money when I eventually get some.
And one last thing that's not on the... Sorry, one last thing also that's not on the list here is we have the next entries in the Pokemon series coming out in just under a week, which is Scarlet and Violet. So if you're interested in seeing the craziness and taking part in all the craziness that surrounds the routing and figuring out glitches if there are any, please join the Switch PSR Discord for all the action.
And I think, as usual, there's going to be an embargo on submissions for
I imagine
the game, about 2 weeks.
Yeah, I don't think it's been explicitly talked about, but we've done it for the last 2 games, so I can't imagine us not doing it for this one. It seems to work pretty well.
Yeah, unfortunately I'm going camping that weekend, so I will actually be missing most of the first few days, but I'm looking forward to sinking my teeth into it when I get back. So that should be looks good. Looks interesting.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll have lots to talk about next podcast.
Yeah. Will assuming it is on the 3rd, will the embargo be up by then? might just be up.
It's usually 2 weeks, so it would probably be
that's
up
when
like
it's
the day
lifted.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
at the very least, we might just talk about some of the interesting things people have found. I'm sure, like
Interesting
if there-
ideas.
Yeah.
If there's any tech or anything like that, yeah.
Yeah, we'll find out if etiquette broke in the game.
See.
Yeah, and say with that, onto the leaderboard roundup. Okay.
That is gonna be my time to go. Gonna go prepare for my race in 15. So thanks for having me this week. And have fun with the rest. See you everyone.
Yeah, Tucker.
Good luck.
Yeah, hopefully we'll
Thank
see
you.
you next
Good luck,
month.
Tucker.
Take care. And yeah, if is anyone else planning to?
Yeah, I'll send myself off as well.
All right, no worries.
Yeah.
Great,
Thanks
great
for having me,
to
joining
join.
us,
Thank
Matt.
you.
Thanks for being on, MaddiicT.
Yeah. Take care, guys. See you.
All right. So as usual, if there's any run that stands out, go ahead and point out. Like for example, 40th for Pickle Pop with a 149.27 in red, 80% glitchless. And then M-Chan, that we just mentioned earlier, who's going to be doing the yellow glitchless run for fastest furs. 52nd in red, 80% glitchless with a 150.29.
I think I saw in the Discord M-Chan got this wild highlight on, I don't know if it was yellow or in red, but it was a lot of weird stuff happened all in like 30 seconds. So that's kind of how I just thought of that right now. Anyway, quite a lot of activity there on red.
Yeah. 17th on 80% glitchless classic for E Junior 98 with a 2:04.40. Pretty solid time.
Yellow, we have UG 17th, 156.27. Yuji's a long-time runner of red. Decided to try the other Gen 1 game. Pretty decent time there. M-Chan's been busy with a 157.12. In gold, not a lot of activity, but lots of good times. We talked about Pokeguy, but Nerdy also with a 315.11 for 5th place in glitchless MaddiicT. Nice to see. Sapphire, we talked about Wave. His Wave's newest time is obviously not here, but Wave had another PB prior to his current record. So slowly working his way up. So that was
should be there because it's being verified. So that's something with the leaderboard bot.
Interesting.
But
Yeah.
can't do anything about that now. One interesting thing to note with there's a crystal run as well. Feel like that doesn't happen too often.
Oh yeah.
Nicholas 7th for even weirder, a 3:30.34.
I'm very interested to see what Mockwing is talking about in his run with a Marshtomp Delcatty 74-second date. You can kind of get an idea of what happened there.
Oh god, yeah.
It will attract.
Oh no. Oh no.
When is female Mudkip runs? Fired Leaf Green etiquette with doing some Fired Leaf Green. How's that going?
It was going all right. I took a bit of a break from it to go back to Let's Go for the time being, but it's pretty good. That was my 4th completed run. And basically had On and On being my brain the entire time in my chat. Which was fun, but yeah, the game's interesting. Seems like something I could go back to every now and then. I'd like to get a sub 210, I think is my goal. But with the new games coming out next week, I don't know if I will be back to that anytime soon. I do want to try to do the tournament next year though. That is the plan.
Nice, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
it's a
with
fun time.
The plan of that actually being on this channel, so that should be interesting.
A couple of really good emulator times here on Fireleaf Green. Kadir and Bang, 204.29, 205.17. Both of them bopping me, so good to see.
Is Bang...
Those guys have been...
Does Bang have console times as well? Or am I wrong?
No, I think he just runs emulator.
Alright.
I feel like he might have console, but he doesn't have the English game.
Right.
I could be wrong about that.
They are expensive right now, the English versions.
Yeah. We also had a looks like a record in Diamond Pearl 90% glitchless on emulator, but by Washer. 4:14.25. Not a main series game or a main series category, I guess. It's not on the noted runs, but we'll shout Washer out here.
Third place for the line was here, platinum, 8%. 2:43.32.
They were not satisfied with the run, according to the comment.
Yeah, that's a pretty strong comment.
Heart Gold, Soul Silver, Saiyan getting 4th place in glitchless on English, so that's good to see. Solid time there. Some activity on the Japanese categories, including Talance.
Yeah,
as well.
Are they the... Yeah, they'll be the same runs. Based off the run date.
Yeah. I thought they might have been different, but then I guess, because they're in different order, but I guess.
Yeah, maybe Yuki had a bit of an issue when it came to...
Kanto, yeah.
Yeah. Or Pedro just had an amazing Kanto. Either or could be true.
Yeah. A couple times on emulator as well.
Yeah.
For any percent on English on emulator, Prabs with the record there.
2:11.10. Ed Bob in black white getting 12th with any percent. 3:17.26. He's gonna take over the DS games now. As well as the 3DS.
Ed Bob does it all.
Still has one more 3DS record to go for. Come on, Head Bob. Get the full sweep.
Yeah, how GDQ schedule will be in December's the one. Might be January. Yeah. I don't know. Whichever one is the one that's before GDQ.
It'd be the January podcast, probably.
We'll talk about the schedule next month.
Oh yeah.
The schedule.
Yeah, as Spider mentioned.
But yeah, don't worry. Congratulations, Hal, with getting in.
X and Y Wave Warrior keeping busy branching out in different categories. This is a bit of an earlier run in terms of in our last month's worth of runs before he went back to Sapphire. 10th place in X and Y.
Also in 12th, Classical Cat with a 3:46.27, only 9 seconds behind Wave. 9 seconds in 2 places. I wonder who's in the middle.
I don't know.
I know no one would know. I could just check this easily.
If it was a 3:45, I would say Garf. But
no, it's tie 10th. Tie 10th there with Duraludon. Which, if I remember correctly, I think the run's visible. Oh, they put something in.
Oh, a tie.
I guess the Twitch mod is gone. There's also a Google Drive link. Interesting. Anyway, that's just a bit of a sidetrack. Apologies.
A little bit of activity on Oras as well.
Yeah.
I think that competition coming to a close. We're going to see some more runs here.
Indeed. And with Gen 7 as well.
And Amoeba.
Yeah,
with, Sun and Moon.
Third place for Amoeba. 5:14.13. on 3DS. Like, interesting that all the runs were on original 3DS for both Sun Moon and Ultra Sun Ultra Moon. Slower version of the console, but all of the consoles. It's good to see that.
Yeah, it's good.
It's good to see Gen 7 runs.
Yeah, the competition really got some more activity on these games, which not many people played normally, so it's good to get.
Yeah. Yeah, like there's always the RS runs that would happen.
Oh yeah, RS is definitely the most popular. I guess, and also XY, but
yeah,
not so much
just
the
Gen 7.
Yeah,
Gen.
except for, well, the Switch Gen 7 game is
yeah.
worse, but that's...
Or Lola.
Yeah.
Few runs of Let's Go as well, both Pikachu and Eevee, with Trivaria with 308 in Pika. That's pretty good.
Did Trivaria? Did they?
I think they got a PB yesterday.
Yeah, like a 306 something.
306, yeah.
Yeah. I remember that.
I don't know if it's been. I don't know if that one's been verified, but we'll just play on the leaderboard anyway.
Agreed.
It's something that I probably made a mistake from Wartab's original adjustment or original version of it. Fourth for Kick and Run in all attainable Pokemon Pikachu with 527.25, and then eddaket. Interesting how you're doing runs everywhere. Any particular reason?
No particular reason. Although the particular reason I had, whenever the thing updates, is going to be completely squashed because there's no way Wave doesn't take over third spot again after the Ruby Sapphire stuff. But yeah, the time here, this was my first completed run of AOP and Pika, and then I keep doing runs and I keep not finishing them because I'm using my Eevee AOP time as a comparison, and I never actually have a good time, even though I would be perfectly happy with like a 520. Keep getting sad when I don't have like an instant 1% encounter. So might see an improvement next month, maybe not.
I mean, would you not be focusing on?
Oh, it depends. Depends on if I get time in the next like 5 days.
Yeah. So I was thinking, because I remember you saying you're going to go relatively hard at least on Scarlet Violet.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. Assuming the runs
exactly.
are good, whatever those may be, because it sounds like it sounds like it could be a lot. There could be a lot that could happen with Scarlet Violet with 3 different stories and stuff. Who knows?
It's a weird game.
Yeah,
that's what it seems like. It seems like it's going to be a really weird one, but we'll see.
Yeah, we will see.
Different is good.
Headbob in 5th with any percent shield, 413.12. I believe that is a Candy Floss ring. I'd be wrong. No, that will be Candy Floss, I'm pretty sure. I don't think Headbob does Arcanine next to Drill.
No, was that when Headbob was doing the Excadrill from the raid den, or was that something different?
That was a sword thing.
That was a sword
thing.
Yeah. I think he came to the conclusion it's not great to push with that time, at least in 80%. As an alt main, it'd be interesting, but eddaket. Third place in 80% sword on Turbo.
My
13.32.
My yearly Candy Floss run.
Eddaket.
That's all that is. I did one run and then submitted the time. I don't think this beat my actual sword PB, but I did it with Turbo, so it counts as a submitted run.
Yeah, that's fair. Also, Etienne in 4th at 4:17.16. That will be Candy Floss. And then Spider with a 4:22.13. Also a Candy Floss run. And then also 2nd place in 8% with DLC Sword, and this is with Turbo. 2nd place for GL Phoenix, a 4:01.59. And then 3rd Snarum with a 4:04.04. very nice time to say.
Yeah, I think if I remember right, Geo Phoenix's time was the marathon run that we talked about a few minutes ago.
No, because that was a 4:02.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
oh,
it's 4:2:58 for the marathon time.
well, color me correct.
Yeah.
Corrected.
So if anyone's wondering, Phoenix used Diggersby and Snarum used Starmie.
Nice.
I assume Diggersby has huge power that makes it good?
I don't remember exactly what it has. I know it has a really good moveset, which is why it's better than you would think it is.
Yeah. Hi, Ian. 7th place in 8% glitchless shiny pearl English no turbo music off.
Yeah, so I started prepping for the marathon, and I was mostly doing music on, but I decided to do one run with music off. And I had an awful work gym, but everything else is pretty solid.
9 defense kills lost hardens from Rourke's gym.
Yeah, so the minion used defense curl a million times, and then I think Rourke's Geodude also did, and then the Onyx also used Harden. So
It's a great gym. Beginning of that run
I also
sucks
did
so bad.
Sorry.
I said the beginning of that run just sucks so bad.
Yeah, I've noticed if you get a good rival one time, the Machop takes forever to spawn.
Yep.
And vice versa. So. I also have a music on PV I didn't submit yet, which I might try to bring that down a bit more before Scarlet Violet.
Yeah, that's fair. Also, 3rd place for Peugeot with 80% glitchless Brilliant Diamond English Turbo music off. And then 2nd place for Fury ST with 80% glitchless Brilliant Diamond English no turbo music on. Which was marathon prep, apparently. Got Halfury's run there, but also in 8th, Ryzukun with a 4:01:04. A couple of Cashmore runs as well. Like Blood Dog with a 9:43:37, then T-Pat with the sub 10 9:53:02.
Yeah, I know Blood was pushing for a sub 10 for the longest time and just kept getting completely destroyed by distortions. And it doesn't even look like this run had great distortions, but was able to get sub 10.
Yeah, which fair play then. You're going up against those distortions. 40 minutes, that's the longest.
That's the maximum, yeah.
Yeah.
And 25 is the second longest, so.
Yeah, so not great, but still a PB. Then Stadium 2, Gym Leader Castle Round 1, 4th place for Void with a 2:06:56. Then 7th Mysticore with a 2:08:55. I feel like you don't see Stadium 2 like the main board runs. I feel like you don't see them too often. I might be wrong.
Yeah, not too often.
Yeah. Trading Card Game, 6th place for Franksy, 51:06 with 80% glitchless. Then Randall Leach Cheese in 37th with a 1:03:31. Pokemon Snap, 80% Switch Quo with a world record at 21:05. I did not include this because Switch is a lot slower. So like, Dunlap's world record is like a 20:32.467. So I never know what to do in those situations. That's why some of the emulated runs don't get put on as well. I'm never too sure. Talked about the new Star Wars from the noted runs. Amoeba with the Kachirachi world record. 3-minute 54-second run. You got Amoeba on the podcast for that. The full breakdown. Adako in 2nd with a 4:17 as well. Pokemon Coliseum, Swiftaloo with a 14th place time, a 3:38.12. On 19th, Desfero with a 3:40.53. And then 20th, Affected Ashes with a 3:41.46. We'll round off colour as well. Verified Linguini with a 4:44.50. We've mentioned all the world records for PMD. But we didn't mention the all icons one actually, but being a miscellaneous category. But anyway, so all icons English with Wondermail, DS/3DS eponymous with a 11 hours 17 minute and 51 second run. Pokepark Wii, Glenn Jamin with a any percent English / PAL version time of 2:24.39. I assume that would be for marathon prep for pace. Unless the dates. Does anyone remember when pace was?
That would be prep for pace.
Okay. Pokemon Blaze Black 2 Volt White 2. This is a new one of the new ROM hacks, right? Came out fairly recently.
So this one actually has been around for a while. We had a board set up for it. I think we set up a board and then Skoa or someone was gonna run it and never did, and it was just sitting empty for years. So finally someone came along and did a run. I don't know too much about the run, but it's a difficulty hack, and it definitely could be improved. But it's very nice to see, especially a run that difficult, someone complete a run of it. So.
Congrats to Viperio 7:58.22. Pokemon Cursed version, bad ending, second place for Malfi, a 6:41.78.
Yeah, that's a Halloween hack. The run was not on Halloween though, but it's a short little hack. I disagree.
Second place.
It's a fun little thing to do. I don't think anything else to do.
Yeah, it's not something I've heard of, but granted, I don't know too much about the ROM hack scene. I just know that people have been playing Emerald Rogue recently. Have you had any speedruns of that? I don't know if people
would it even be consistent enough to have as a speedrun?
I mean, you can have roguelike speedruns, to be fair. I guess it's just like, I know Dead Cells is fairly popular. Or at least was fairly popular. Anyway, tangent once again. Clicker, second place for TJ Wombo in Kanto Champion Clickless Codeless, 1 hour 12 minute 56 second .75. Decimals are always important. Pacifist in Red Blue category extensions, switched TDF with a 38.37 second run. Does anyone know what that is?
You're not allowed to deal damage, I think.
That would make sense.
Some glitches.
Yeah.
A couple alt mains.
Yeah. There's one alt main and then one Game Boy Tower, N64 Japanese version. Don't know what game.
Good point.
Don't know what game. But a 113.27 for Winchan.
Either gold or crystal.
It is either gold or crystal. I guess the same also for the Espeon alt main. Don't know what game. Unless... Oh, this... Okay, it's crystal. So this is something I need to change in the leaderboard roundup. I did not know that it finally got separated, the category extensions. Good to know though. Old Main Pokes Vaporeon, Odin with the world record a 307.12. Couple Manipulous times. Old Main Cricketune from Worcester, 422.58. Couple of alt language runs. Love to see it. Got Rubentus's world record there. Why a lot of Manipulous runs though? There's a fair few last month if I remember correctly. Like, all from France, I think, right? Or was that a different game?
I don't remember.
Alright,
No.
fair.
This might all be preparation for the tournament.
Ah, yeah, true. That would make sense. Couple of alt main pokes. Got a Billy world record right there. Rubentus sub 4. 359.46. Alt main poke Centrit from Galino, a 954.49. Shout out to Baguette in the comments. Jimmy with second in Battle Factory level 50 silver. JT Magic Man with all obtainable legends world record at 547.50. Thunder from Down Under. I don't know if that's a reference to Zapdos or JT Chase.
Probably both.
Probably both, okay.
He is Australian.
That is true. And then JT as well with third place in Battle Pass 2 Red, a 555.17. Etienne in third place for Manipulous on Black 2 White, White 2, based on the comment, a 341.17. And all main posts Superior in Japanese, Sugarchu D with a 439.46. Ed Bob with the alt main Macho new 3DS world record, a 5:15.41. Not bad, but also not great. Fourth place on Ditch Bill for Trivaria, a 33.47. More Shield trade alt mains. They're actually, this might be the first month in a while where it's not a new trade alt main. I might be wrong with that. But either way, there's also an alt main without Eternity's cash world record. Morgrim with a 445.07. That is the in-game trade Meowth. So you get the Cantonian Meowth and take that through the game, I'm guessing.
Interesting.
Yeah. Some more Tower of Two Fists. GSU with a world record. Don't get a
nice.
I did not notice that one happened.
That one, so that that run beat my time by about 4 seconds or so. And what they did is they used Starmie, but they did not go to. Normally, what the Starmie route did is it would go to the Crown Tundra, get the XP candies, and then that would make your starter high enough level that the catch is pretty favored. But what Yoshida Shu did is skip the Crown Tundra and do an underleveled catch, which pretty much means you're throwing 10% balls at Starmie.
Oh god.
Well, it works out. I don't know how many catches it took, but
yeah, it wasn't as many as you would think, but it was still quite a few. And yeah.
Golden Spider might be first ball, which if that's the case.
Oh, it was first ball. You have to, yeah, but you have to do a weird setup where I think you use Yawn to put it to sleep.
Right.
I'm not sure. That's what he was doing. They were doing initially with Starmie. So
Isle of Armor all means double Spider with a 122.24, which I think also Spider got a PB yesterday or today.
Yes. Also, I'd like just to shout out Morgrim getting a PB in Don't Get Urshifu with Thwacky with a 113.01.
Oh, fair play. I did not notice that comment. Fair play on that.
That's that was a fun one to route and do runs of.
Is there any particular one of your runs that stands out that you want to mention?
Oh god,
quickly?
all of my runs are here.
Yeah.
I quickly, the Gyarados run was very interesting. So I catch the Gyarados right after beating Avery 1. And you'll see Morgrim has a time that's 30 seconds faster, and Morgrim did something completely different. They went for a Max Raid Den Magikarp instead. So two completely different. And you see in my comment, I said Raid Den beats fishing. So so that's how those two kind of stack up. Obviously, I don't think either of us grinded it out. It could go either way potentially, but that's kind of how it stands right now.
Yeah.
The Octillery run is when I was fishing for Gyarados. You can get an Octillery, and I just took that and ran it and finished a run. So it's an accidental run.
Fair play.
And Raichu, Alolan Raichu is you have to find is it 50 or 40 Diglett in the Isle of Armor, and then get the Alolan Raichu.
40.
And wow, my time got beaten. I didn't even realize that. But yeah, Morgrim did that initially, and then I figured out a nice, fast way to find all the Diglett, and what I thought was a pretty consistent pattern. Apparently, it's not quite good enough. But I'm gonna check out that run and see how that went.
Well, Yoshida's. Oh, you're
Very, very good at this.
Because I'm thinking this might have been a Dynamax raid. Did I verify this? I did verify this. Let's put the...
No way, another run is faster using a max raid. Or is it Dynamax?
Dynamax Adventure. Yeah.
No way. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
You can definitely go into the Dynamax Adventure and take a main into the Isle of Armor. That's definitely viable. I played around with it a little bit, but not too much. I think Aspect did as well. So you can definitely do some fun stuff there because you have a super high-leveled main of which kind of just crushes everything, but you lose the time obviously getting it. So
yeah.
Oh, there you go. That's definitely props to Yoshida for doing that. That's an interesting.
Yeah.
Good old raid dens. Wins again.
Yeah. That's two runs where you've been beaten by raid dens. So adventures.
Common trend
I'm just happy to see all this creativity. It's cool to see.
Yeah. There definitely has been some cool stuff with the Isle of Armor. Runs I would never have thought of. Like you, Spider, and like the Japanese runs like Yoshida as well.
Yeah.
And then Morgrim as well, even.
Yeah, Morgrim's done a ton of alt mains as well.
Yeah.
Their PB was with Noctowl initially before the Thwacky, so. This is very interesting.
I want to check very quickly. Don't know if this is. Yeah.
Oh, I see a spelling mistake. It says Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. Category extensions. Is that a leaderboard spelling mistake, or is that a?
That's a good question.
That might be a leaderboard one.
Oh.
Nope, it's me.
Yep, it's you.
Okay, good. It's not nearly as embarrassing.
It's embarrassing. It's more embarrassing for me. I don't do anything with the leaderboards, but I've got a leaderboard board. That's
but on SRC, that's pretty. If it was on SRC, that would be pretty.
It would be bad.
That's a public website.
Yeah. Yeah. Just the thing that I was checking. I was looking at the record pages, the one that was set up by the Bombshoe.
Yeah.
And like the category extensions. Morgrim has now taken over to have the most for most world records for category extensions. Well, it's technically tied, but that has more second places and just more in top times in general. So, just
time to run some really obscure Pokemon, bunch of really obscure Pokemon in the Isle of Armor to try to take that spot.
Yeah, the previous one, second place is Akiri, who's literally Pokemon Rumble only, I believe.
Oh wow.
The idea, if you want to get to the top, you gotta focus on one singular game, I guess, and just make a million, or root a million different things. Although fair play to both of them, but also especially to Morgrim. Yeah, so Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, Elite Four Round 2 Japanese world record for Yoshida Shu, a 4:33.34, and then Elite Four Round 3, a 5:12.05 on the Japanese versions for both of them, and then is it silver? Is it just silver? Am I overthinking this? Second in Elite Four Round 3 on English, a 4:54.55. I'm going with silver. I apologise if it is not.
Or silver, yeah.
All Lords world record for Halcree, a 2:35.33, part of the 80% world record.
So yeah, a bit of a sneak preview. That's the category that Hulk will be running at GDQ.
Indeed, as well as there is also Pokeguy with the red and yellow, 80%
Bidwar,
glitchless Bidwar, and then the Pokemon randomizer. I believe it's the 10 Dungeon Random Blitz version.
Yes,
from Epic Yoshi, from Epic Yoshi Master. So, all great runs. They've gotten in. I really like. I mean, we'll be talking about this more next month. I do like the Pokemon runs that they've chosen this time round. Some great runs there.
Yeah. So all lords is you're just beating the final, like, frenzied lord, right? And that's the end of the run.
Yeah, and it also starts later, so you cut out the first 25 minutes of the run.
Oh, so none of the tutorial stuff, yeah.
Yeah, you start when you gain access to basically the open world stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Some would argue it's Legends Arceus, but the good bits. I'm not saying that because I've not done any of the runs, but I feel like some people would argue that. Yeah.
The fun bits.
Oh, what was that?
Oh no, maybe not the good bits, but the fun bits for sure.
Fun bits, yeah. Yeah, the fun bits. We'll say that. Yeah, Pokemon Battle Revolution category extensions. Some more world records for RDA. And then, last but not least, DCG category extensions. Personal and Friends, Frank C with the 5106. And that is the leaderboard roundup for this month. Next podcast should be on the 3rd of December. We will see as certain once we get closer. That should be when the next podcast will be. To the guests that are not currently here now, please go give them a follow as I type it all. Every single time I forget to put the S on the end. On the podcast guest command.
There you go.
There we go. Also...
Nice.
Alright. God, okay. Chill out with that. Make sure I'm putting this on the hosts. Gotta make sure I don't mess that one up. Feel free to follow any of the hosts. Or all the hosts. That would be even better. Yeah, any of the last minute things that you can think of?
I can't think of anything. Watch the Heart Gold Soul Silver tournament. A new match just started, so definitely go check that out.
Yeah.
And if you
Featuring
are
our fellow host Tucker,
yeah. And if you're interested in, just to reiterate, if you're interested in the new games that come out next week, definitely make sure to hop into the PSR Switch Discord, because that's where the majority of the discussions about the games will be, at least in terms of speedrunning. So
yeah, we'll raid into the Hogwarts Solar race. For anyone that is still here, so and has not already gone over. Yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good rest of your day or evening wherever you are. Goodbye.
bye everyone.
Goodbye.